Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. Got some more Chelsea news for you guys. Got some more news regarding Aaron Anselmino, a centre-back that we signed from Boca Juniors, an Argentinian team, in August. We signed him for £15.6 million. But then we ended up sending him straight back out on loan. To continue his development out in Argentina. It's been decided by Chelsea to bring him back from that loan spell in January. This was always the plan, apparently. And he's going to continue his development at Chelsea. Now, the question is how, and we're going to go through that as well. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video as well. Really appreciate all of the support. So as it stands, it remains unclear. This is according to the BBC just before the new year. We didn't know whether Anselmino was going to go out on loan or whether he was going to stay out at the club. So there was potential that even though he was coming back from Argentina, he could still go out on loan to France and play for Strasbourg, which has worked for players like Andre Santos. I think Petrovic is performing very well there in France. So that could have been the way that we saw Anselmino develop long-term, getting used to European football. But it seems like we're going in a different direction, which will free up an international loan spot. There is a limit of 6 players that are allowed to go on temporary loan moves overseas under the new FIFA rules. So we've got a spot that's going to be free now. And a player like Cesar Casady, or Cassidy, I don't know if I got it wrong, let me know. He has a lot of interest from abroad as well, not just from Italy with Monza, but also Feyenoord in Holland. I think it would be best for Casady to go out on loan. He's definitely not getting the minutes that he deserves at Chelsea. And if you look at his record in under-21s football, especially the Euros, things like that, his goal-scoring ability, I think we've got a serious player on our hand, but for whatever reason, maybe it's just age. That's a factor, isn't it? You've got so many players to compete against for these positions in the senior squad. So Casady, a loan move would certainly benefit him. And as Anselmino, what he needs, according to Chelsea, is to acclimatise to the English game, and will be built up to cope with the demands of English football. He won't be thrown into the first team immediately, so he'll have plenty of time to settle in and develop. Now, this makes perfect sense to me, especially if you're looking at it from Casady's angle as well, because you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You've got one player who's acclimatised to the game. He's been here for a long time. He's certainly used to being in England by this point. I'd be very surprised if Casady wasn't. But he hasn't broken into the squad, so give him a chance abroad, hopefully raise up his stock a little bit, and we look at different options, maybe looking to sell him for a profit, or even bringing him back next season and seeing if he can fit into the squad at that time. But what Anselmino needs now is to get used to being around Cobham, get to know his teammates, and understand what it is that is expected, not just from Enzo Maresca, but from Chelsea as a whole. It's very different in London to Argentina. If you look at the weather, the food, the cultures in general, it makes perfect sense to me. And you've got a young 19-year-old who is certainly going to have to adapt. I don't know if his family is going to relocate as well with him. I'm unsure about that. But it seemed like a smart move from both sides, and I'm all for it. Fans who are saying we need to bring in Anselmino straight away, I can understand that logic, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. It honestly seems like we're going to be sticking with Disasi instead at this moment in time. We've got some serious problems if that's the case, especially with Badiashile and Fofana out injured. And Anselmino could have been a solution, or could still be a solution, to try and help us with our defensive problems. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen, and I fully appreciate that. I mean, I don't expect a player like that to come in and solve all of our issues. It just won't happen. Also, speaking of more breaking news for Chelsea, Henrique Hilario and analyst James Melbourne have departed Chelsea and joined Thomas Tuchel's staff at England with immediate effect. Obviously, Hilario was a goalkeeper many years ago for us and has been remaining a part of the club ever since. So all the best to him and James Melbourne as well. They've done their time. They had success at Chelsea as well. This is one of the reasons Tuchel wanted to bring them to England for that job, because he believes that they're very good at what they do. So they will be missed, but this is just one of the parts of football, isn't it? We've got to appreciate that's how it goes. We've also got an update regarding Leslie Ugochukwu. Southampton boss Ivan Juric says, and I quote, "I want him to stay here at Southampton. He has great potential. The people from Chelsea are not stupid. He's a really young guy, and it's not always easy to work with youngsters. I think he has really good potential." Now, this is another question I have for you guys. You look at the depth we have in midfield at the moment, the fact that we've already spoken about Casady. It's been reported that he's linked away from Chelsea anyway, and he's not getting into the squad. And then we complain about depth in the midfield. Dewsbury Hall's not good enough. I mean, he's not going to fill the shoes of Enzo and Caicedo. So is it worth bringing Ugochukwu back from loan to try and stay, give us a little bit more stability? Because sometimes after 60 minutes in a game, and Ipswich was a perfect example, you just need some fresh legs, someone to just help out a little bit. I think Caicedo needed loads of help, and it would have been good to have a player like Ugochukwu, who looked good in pre-season, by the way, and it was a dark horse for us. I was very surprised with how good he was, and his ability to score goals as well. You know, he's not an avid goal scorer, but he did score a couple, and I do think it's worth giving a player like Ugochukwu, especially that profile, who's good defensively, but he can knock it about as well. If you've got Lavia who's injured all the time, where's your cover? So that could be an option for us, but Southampton obviously want to keep Ugochukwu. If he does get played more regularly in that squad, then maybe you could say it's good for his development, but there's other people who have said, what's the point of developing if you're getting relegated? Is that really good development? Is that good experience being relegated when you want to then come into a team like Chelsea, competing for trophies, titles, fighting for Premier Leagues, hopefully later down the line? So I ask you that question, guys. Is it good experience? I don't know. I think it's all good experience, to be fair. There's plenty of players who have done it. But if he's going to get just as many minutes at Chelsea because we need midfield depth at the moment, then I'd say bring him back. I don't see the point. So that's my stance on it. But yeah, that's the latest news I've got at the moment regarding transfers at the moment. So let me know, guys. I mean, what do you think about Anselmino coming in? Do you think he needs to just be put straight into the starting 11 or in the squad at least because the Sassy's been so poor? Or do you think we've got enough firepower with what we have to be able to just stabilise things defensively while Fofana and Badiashile are out? Or should we send Anselmino out on loan? But that would also mean that Casady can't go out on loan because we're capped with the amount of spots that we can do. So personally, I think it's good to keep Anselmino here at the club, even if he's not playing, and then ship out Casady on loan. And I wouldn't be opposed to bringing back Ugochukwu either. I think both of those ideas make perfect sense to me, but it doesn't seem like anything's going forward on the Ugochukwu front. It seems like we're just going to keep him where he is. But anything can change. The market moves very, very quickly. But I'll keep you posted, guys. All the best, and we will catch up very, very soon.